Hi, class 6. How are you guys doing? I hope you all are in good health and doing really good and doing your studies as well. So, this is the right time to prove ourselves. See, everything is shut down, everything is in lockdown, and but the only thing you can do is studies and play as well. But you have to play also to study well. But keep your focus on studies because see, this is the best chance to prove yourself, and everything is shut down and the only thing you can do is study, read and try to learn, and I am here to help you. See, I am also working, I am helping you out guys, I am trying to help you out as far as possible as I can. So let's see what we can do and do for the best. And so if I can work, so you can. So you know me very well, class 6. You are very accustomed to my habits. So we were at what, when and how, isn't it? So we have gone through the what is history, why do we study history, monuments, sources of history are monuments, inscriptions, edicts, objects, burial sites, manuscripts, secular literature I explained to you, and what is religious literature I have explained to you. There's another PDF file gone up on the downloads, you can check it today. A vast explanation is there. I have given a lot of explanation and I have given you chapters already of 1, 2, 3, 4 as per my syllabus. I have given you, study those. So those are the type things are going to come, answers are already there. And if you have any problems, please do go ahead and shoot questions on that WhatsApp school. There's one group, Hartford group I guess, so sir has added me in that. So if you want to have any questions, you can go ahead and tell me. So I will just tell you that and be serious, and things are going to happen good. See, if you do good, good will happen. If you don't do good, nothing will happen. So at the end of this video, I am going to tell you a small story. What actually happens if you do good and if you do bad. So that's also a part of your EVS, right? So we can go ahead and do that. And very sorry, excuse me for the sounds in between which come in for my mobile also as well, because I get a lot of information and lot of mails and all which I have to check. I cannot keep it on silence. If I keep it on silent, then I don't get the information. I forget. So excuse me for that. I am very sorry if it disturbs you, but please do bear with me. Okay, so let's start. Should we start? All ready with your breakfast and all? Had your breakfast and all, your roti and your aloo bhujia and your khajris. I love khajris. Awesome taste. Okay, so let's go back to we are going to start with oral history. What is actually oral history about? Oral history is about if you generally ask me, it's all about spoken by the mouth, orally. We talk orally, isn't it? So it's like that. We speak orally, we tell something about stories, we should try to show things with plays, we try to learn things about movies and from poems and from religious books. So this is how we get to know about oral history, isn't it? So I'll just read through. After that, I'm going to give an explanation, and the full explanation is given on a upload which I have done. And guys, please every day follow the download section in your website. There will be always information from my side. Okay, so I'm always there to put something or the other for you to get yourself engaged and learn. See, I don't believe in question answers. I believe in learning. Okay, if I have seen the movie Sholay and if I didn't follow the movie, I won't know what was inside the movie. But I know Amitabh Bachchan was there, Dharmender was there, Gabbar was there, and Hema Malini was also there. But I don't know the story because I did not see it properly. But same thing with studies. If I know what is what, when and how, what all includes in what, when and how, We have secular literature, we have manuscripts, we have monuments, we have oral history, we have excavations, we have archaeological reasons, we have books, we have religious books, we have got secular books, reconstruction of the part, the geographical locations, what was it, what were the rituals, what was the grammar, like Siksha was there in the Vedangas, Siksha was there, Kalpa was there in grammar, Vyakaram, I am very bad at Sanskrit, Vyakarna or Vyakaran, which you call in Hindi, Nirukta is etymology, Chanda is metrics, Jyotisha is astronomy. So these are the 6 Vedangas which are important limbs of the Vedas, which was there in the history. So people followed that. Okay, so that is how it was involved into political history, into religious history, and literally and archaeological records. There were 2 main categories of ancient history: was the old buildings, the old forts, the temples. Then the literary sources include of the Vedic, Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit, and other literature along with other foreign accounts. I hope I am not forgetting anything out of it. Yes, it's Vedic, Sanskrit, Pali, and Prakrit. Yes, I am right there. And the archaeological sources include epigraphic, numismatic, and the architectural remains. Now, archaeological explorations and excavations have opened the great landscapes of information, which I have given you in the files. So, I am just going to go about with your oral history. It says that another source used by historians in oral history. Oral history refers to the record of historical information which is based on the personal experiences and opinions of the speakers. As I said, it is said something by the mouth, and it was said, and it was, suppose I tell you, I was born in this place, my father was that, my this and that, you keep that information. So what is Ronin sir's history? He told me. How did he tell? I told you orally. I did not give it to you in writing. When it goes into writing, it becomes a script. If I print it out, then it again becomes into some inscription. Or if I write it on some stone or some block of wood and give it to you, which you do on the bench. Okay. So, oral history involves the use of interviews, myths, folk tales, songs that have been passed down the generation to generation through word of mouth. Small example, at home when we feel sick, when we get sick, our mom or our mother or our nanny, she gives us some type of medicine, isn't it? Homemade medicine. Then we ask her, where did you learn this? Then she says, you don't have to go to the doctor. I am there, I am going to take care of it. We call it totkas or something, you know what, old medicines. So your nanny knows, her nanny's nanny knew, nanny's nanny knew that. So it came down generation to generation, step by step. Like you are writing your name on the bench, next class 6 will come and write the name on the bench, the next class 6 will come in and write the name on the bench. After 6 years, I'll see there are 6 names on the bench. Step by step it's coming. So we'll come to know who was in class 6. Understood? I explained it in a very easy way. And it goes from word to word. What I told you, you tell somebody else, that goes and tells somebody else. But actually sometimes the original thing doesn't come in oral information. Suppose I said, Rajalakshmi, you go and get me 4 toffees. You went and told someone after 2 days, oh, you know, Ayushi, Ronin sir told me to get 4 toffees. Then Ayushi goes and tells Divyanshu, do one thing, Ronin sir wants 4 toffees, go and get it. So Rajalakshmi's name is minus from there. So by the time we go to 7 people, I'll see Ronin sir's name is vanished. Someone will go and say, go and bring 4 toffees, I want to eat. Understood? So orally sometimes we forget things to add on, or we add on something which was not there according to our brain or according to our learning. Okay? So you will come across examples of written and archaeological sources in the coming chapters also. This will give you a better understanding of how sources are used to reconstruct history. By the use of those things, how will we reconstruct history? We are going to come and know about it. Okay? Suppose we are in Hartford right now. We are studying here. I am teaching there. Sorry, I am sharing. I don't teach. I share information. And our new school is coming up. And after 10 years, suppose, God bless us, we go to that new school as fast as possible. And we come back to this Kamtol school where we are after 10 years. There will be a difference, isn't it? Then we will compare this difference, present day difference, with the 10 years ago. Then we'll calculate what are the changes happened and how it happened. Clear? If you have any questions, please type it and send it on the group, or get in touch with Chauhan sir, and he's the best person. He's going to give you all solutions. He has bag full of solutions. He's just a magician. I adore him a lot. I respect and adore him a lot. Reconstruction of the past. How do we reconstruct? How do we make a story? How do we try to write down? How do we want to get information? Is from reconstruction of the past. You have read about how historians use various sources and techniques to reconstruct the past. The historian is in many ways a detective, using various clues to understand and investigate the past. In the chapters to come, you will learn about people who lived in India from the prehistoric times to about the 8th century CE. Okay? So that is how it is going to be done. How they took information from the past, historical places, how people did it, how did they get information. So it is all being done like that. Okay, now I'll tell you, prehistoric, an era which was till 3300 BCE. Then came the Neolithic, then came the Bronze Age, the first urbanization, 3300 to I guess 1800. Yes, it's 1800 BCE. Then the Indus Valley civilization came in. Then the Iron Age, which is called the Vedic period, 1500 to 600 BCE. Then the Vedic society came in, so on and so forth. Then we have the second urbanization. Then we have Buddhism, Jainism, we have Mahajanapadas, we have the Nanda Empire, Alexander's campaign, Mauryan Empire, Sangam period. Then we have the classical and early medieval periods of 200 BC to 1200 CE. Then we have the early classical period, the Gupta Empire from, I guess the Gupta Empire is from 320 to 650 CE, if I am not wrong. Then we have the early medieval period, that is from 6th century, mid 6th century to 1200 CE. Then comes in the late medieval period, comes in the Delhi Sultans, or we can call it the Delhi Sultanate. Then we have the Vijayanagar Empire, then we have the regional powers, and that time is from 1200 to 1526 CE. Gosh, my memory, I don't know. It's great. It's good that I'm able to share it with you, because I like to share things, and sharing with you guys has kept me also into books. I have to read every day and get to know things. So that was the part of understanding. How to aid your understanding of events, you will need to know where history takes place. In other words, the geographical context and when history takes place, or the complex dating system used in the study of history. History is all about dates. Your birthday last year, date, you remember? Mine is on 12th October, you guys know that. So I remember that date. I was born, so my history starts from that date till today. It's like that. Which place? I was born in Kolkata, the city of joy. Clear? Now what was that city type? So you are going to decide my lifestyle according to that city. during 1973. I was born then. So you were not into this world also, into this atmosphere also, you were not there. Just joking. Okay, so it's like that. Now it's about the geographical locations. How do we get into these geographical locations? India's topography. Now topo sheet, I have taught class 6 who were present, and they have gone to 7th. Those guys know how to do a topo sheet and a grid. So India's topography is such that the land is almost as big as a continent. Did you understand? India's land, if we open it on a topo sheet, if we put it on a topo sheet like this, huge square topo sheet, it's going to be bigger than a continent. But it's compressed. If we open it up, so that's what history, we are talking about history inside India. If we open that history, it's going to become bigger than a continent. Hence, India and its neighboring countries are referred to as the subcontinent. India is bound by the Himalayas in the north and the seas on the 3 sides. The Himalayas in the north acted as a natural barrier for the country, protecting it from various invaders across the border and the cold winds of North and Central Asia. The mountain passes along the northwest of the country also acted as trade routes through which many groups such as Central Asians came into the country. Many seafaring nations used the sea routes along the coast for trade and interaction. The names that we use for our country today are India and Bharat. That has come down and that was used, and the Persians came in and they started calling us Hind, Hindu, and then Hindustan, and then Bharat came in, and then India came in. So in our constitution you can say Bharat as well as India. The name India is derived from the Indus river that flows through the northwestern part of the subcontinent and is referred to as Sindhu in Sanskrit. The Iranians and Greeks who came to India through the northwest around 2500 years ago referred to the river Indus as Hindu or Indu. The land to the east of the Indus was called India. Bharat, as mentioned in the Rig Veda, was used for people who lived in the northwest, was later used for the whole country. India is a land of rivers. People refer to live near rivers such as the Ganga, the Indus or the Narmada, as the rivers watering the fertile plains provided tremendous scope for settled life, irrigation, farming. It's coming back from there generation to generation to generation. Without farming, without irrigation, we'll have no food to eat. Even for that Pizza Hut pizza, the Domino's pizzas, the McDonald's burgers, we have to have farming. We have to grow that grain, we have to grow that wheat, we have to grow those oil seeds. So if we don't grow that, how is that bread going to come? How is the rice going to come? Tomato sauce, ketchup, you're having food, samosas in the house and you're wanting ketchup, you shout at your mother saying, give me some ketchup right now. So have you ever thought how that ketchup comes? Tomatoes, irrigation, farming again. So without farming, nothing is there. Without farming, we are all going to die of hunger. People from the north moved to the south and people from the south moved to the north, crossing the Vindhyas and the Satpura mountains, rivers and the Deccan plateau. As you read along, you will realize the great influence of geography on the history of our country and how it shaped some of the most momentous events in our past. I am going to explain you gradually. I have videos, I have videos and I am going to explain you right now also as well. So, when does history take place? When historians write about historical events, they use BC and AD. But what do they mean? BC and AD are used to indicate how many years before or after the birth of Christ. An event took place. We take the year of the birth of Jesus Christ as year 1. Events that took place before the birth of Christ are referred as BC, before Christ. For example, 800 BC means 800 years before the birth of Christ. And AD stands for Anno Domini, meaning in the year of our Lord. Events taking place after the birth of Christ are denoted as AD. For example, 1500 years after the birth of Christ is written as 1500 AD. Excuse me. Till recently, most people use the terms BC and AD. However, many historians are now using the terms BCE and CE. We use BCE before Common Era and CE or Common Era. Common Era is the beginning of a new era starting with 1 year until the present. So Common Era is an era which is beginning from that point of time we want to pull out something till today is the Common Era. So 1 CE is after 500 BCE. Then 500 CE starts. From BCE we come from greater to lower parts, and from CE we start going from lower parts to greater parts of the years. So we are done here. History is the study of past. We learn about how people lived, their ideas and their customs through history. Scholars who study history are known as historians. Historians use literary and archaeological sources to study history. Geography plays an important role in understanding history. Common Era is CE, is the beginning of a new era starting with the year 1 until present. So Common Era just starts between 500 BCE and it starts from 500 CE. That's the point 1, the junction where BCE finishes and CE starts. The CE starts, the Common Era. Okay? So you read the chapter. If you have this book, if you have your new book, go through word meanings, try to see what word meanings you can go through. And I am putting up some PDF files. I am putting up the full explanation of what I wrote, what I read. And because if I keep on speaking, I'll say something and you'll forget. So today I forgot to tell you that short story which I wanted to share with you. But I guess I can do that for you. But I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you the summary what I want to tell you. There's a farmer who sowed some seeds. One part of seeds he threw and it fell on the road. The birds came and the fowls came, hens came and ate it up. Okay. One place he sowed, it fell on the rocks. It did not get earth to grow. The sun came up, it dried up, got burnt in the sun, finished. Third one, he threw, it fell in the bush of thorns. When the thorn bush grew, it crumbled up the plant and it died. And few seeds he threw on a good place, fertile place, which he made it himself. And trees grew, fruits came, grains or whatever seeds they were. It had a huge harvest. Now try to understand what I said about sowing seeds. Now this explanation, keep it in your mind, is going to be a climax, a surprise. I'll come back in the next class and I'll tell you what actually I'm talking about. First one I'll explain to you. I am the farmer. I am sowing seeds. I am talking. I am sharing. I sowed seeds. There are so many fields are there, so many places are there. So who are the places? You. Divyanshu, Nishant, Priyanshu, Faiz, and hi Faiz, how are you? Happy Ramadan week, happy Ramzan month, and you take care, say your prayers. And then we have Nitin, I guess we have one Nitin, isn't it? Then I have Arushi, then I have Sunflower, I have Shreya, Siddhi, Supriya. I am forgetting names again. So you are all the fields, you are all the irrigation farming land. So I am talking means my seeds are coming out. I am sharing. So when I am talking, some seeds went and fell on the road. The fowls came and the birds came, ate it and went away. No use. So some children only sit, listen, he's talking, let him talk. We'll listen from 1 year and take it out from 1 year. That is one field. Next I'll come in the class and explain the rest of the fields and who are the fields, what happens. So this is how I do my sharing. So you learn like that. Those who will have ears will listen. Those who have brains will understand. And those who will learn and listen and speak will be the best. Those who will learn, speak, understand, remember and write, they will be the bestest. Rest of the story, next class. See you guys. Go through the pages. I have put up PDF files. Try to solve yourself. Learn those questions. I have put answers also. Make your own. I have made notes also for you. Excuse me. Go through them. Learn them. Try to understand instead of learning by heart. Try to write your own notes. See, write. And see, it's going to make a difference. I want progress, not perfection. If you do progress, like Nishant, he has shown me magic in SST. That boy listened to me. And he showed me progress. Perfection will walk at the back of you. I have the drummer boy in this class, right? I'm forgetting his name. Drummer boy, hi, how are you? I'm so sorry, I forgot about you totally. I'm very sorry. Drummer boy, I'm forgetting your name. Anyways, I like you with the name as drummer boy. You play the drum awesome, man. Good job. Okay guys, I won't waste much of your time, so it's going to get late for you. You study, eat, play, and after you do your studies, do whatever you want. See you in the next class. Bye bye.